You didn't stumble upon this by accident. There's a reason you're here reading this right now. You've been searching, maybe not even realizing it, but deep down you've been longing for something more. You've been scrolling, looking for answers, distractions, anything to fill that emptiness. But today is different. Today is a divine interruption. Life moves fast, doesn't it? The world keeps you busy, pulling you in 100 different directions. Social media, news, entertainment, always something to see, always something demanding your attention. But in all the noise, have you stopped to listen? Have you taken a moment to hear that still, small voice calling out to you? You are not forgotten. You are not just another face in the crowd. You were created with a purpose, a destiny, a calling that is greater than the endless cycle of scrolling and searching. That restlessness in your heart, that feeling like something is missing, that's not an accident. That's a sign. You see, there's a plan for your life, a plan for hope, for joy, for peace that surpasses all understanding. But you'll never find it in the endless stream of content vying for your attention. You won't find it in the temporary highs that fade as quickly as they come. True fulfillment isn't found in likes, comments, or the approval of others. It's found in something far greater, something unshakable. Right now, in this very moment, you have a choice. You can keep scrolling, keep searching, keep filling your mind with things that will never satisfy, or you can pause. You can take a breath and open your heart to something deeper, something eternal. You are loved beyond measure. You are seen, known, and cherished. There is a path before you, one that leads to life, to purpose, to freedom. But you have to take the first step. Don't let this moment pass you by. This is your wake-up call. This is your reminder that you were made for more. Stop chasing after things that fade and start walking in the truth that will never fail you. The door is open. The invitation is here. The question is, will you answer? There are moments in life that feel ordinary, routine, even predictable. Days blur into weeks and weeks into months as life moves forward at a relentless pace. And then suddenly something shifts. A moment stands out. A word catches your attention. A thought lingers longer than usual. It feels like an interruption, but not just any kind of interruption. It feels significant, like a pause in time, as if something greater is trying to get your attention. These moments don't happen by chance. They are carefully placed in your path, meant to awaken something within you. Perhaps you've been feeling stuck, caught in a cycle of busyness and distraction, searching for something but never quite sure what it is. You move from one thing to the next, keeping yourself occupied, yet deep down, there's an unshakable restlessness. That feeling isn't random. It's a sign that something deeper is stirring. How often do people dismiss these moments? How often do they explain them away as coincidence, as just another fleeting thought, another passing feeling? But what if it's more than that? What if it's an intentional pause, an opportunity to step outside the noise and listen to a voice that has been calling out all along? The world thrives on keeping people busy, keeping them entertained, keeping them moving so fast that they never stop long enough to ask the real questions. What is my purpose? Why am I here? Is there more to life than this? Those questions matter, they demand answers, and yet so many avoid them because facing them requires stillness, a willingness to be interrupted. Right now, in this very moment, you are being given that opportunity. Something has stopped you, whether you meant to or not. You could have kept going, kept scrolling, kept filling your mind with distractions, but you didn't. Something pulled you here. Something whispered to your heart, urging you to pause and pay attention. Think back to moments in your life when you felt this same nudge, this same awareness that there's more beyond what your eyes can see. Maybe it was in a quiet moment of reflection. Maybe it was in the middle of a struggle when you felt lost, uncertain of which direction to take. Maybe it was in an unexpected conversation, a passage you read, a thought that wouldn't let go. These moments are not just random occurrences. They are divine invitations placed precisely when you need them most. So many people spend their lives searching, reaching for things they hope will bring meaning and fulfillment. They chase after success, relationships, recognition, only to find that none of it truly satisfies. The excitement fades, the newness wears off, and they're left with the same empty feeling, the same longing for something more. That's because the answers they seek aren't found in things that fade. They're found in something eternal, something unshakable, something that has been calling to them all along. But here's the challenge: recognizing the moment for what it is. It's easy to ignore. It's easy to push it aside, to say maybe later, to convince yourself that you'll think about it another time. But how many times has later turned into never? How many times has the busyness of life drowned out the still, small voice urging you to pay attention? This is why moments like this are so important. They break through the noise. They demand your attention. They remind you that life is more than just a series of events. It's a journey with a purpose, a journey designed with intention. And right now, at this very moment, you are standing at a crossroads. You didn't come across this by accident. You were meant to pause, to hear this, to consider what it means for your life. The question is, what will you do at this moment? Will you move on as if nothing happened, or will you take a step towards something greater? The world is louder than ever. Everywhere you turn, there's something fighting for your attention. Notifications light up your phone. Headlines demand urgency, and endless streams of information fill your mind from the moment you wake up. The noise is constant, and without realizing it, you've adapted to it. You've grown used to distraction, to the fast pace of life, to the expectation that you must always be doing something, seeing something, consuming something. But in all the busyness, have you stopped to ask yourself what you're really listening to? It happens so subtly. You wake up and reach for your phone before even getting out of bed. You scroll through updates, messages, and news before your day has even begun. Your mind is already racing, already filled with thoughts that weren't even yours to begin with. Then the day takes over. Work, responsibilities, conversations, entertainment, plans. It's nonstop. By the time you finally get a moment to slow down, you're too exhausted to think, so you reach for more distractions to fill the silence. And before you know it, another day is past, another week, another month. The world thrives on keeping you occupied. It keeps you entertained, keeps you chasing, keeps you so caught up in everything around you that you rarely have time to focus on what truly matters. And here's the real danger. It's not just about being busy. It's about being too distracted to hear the truth. It's about filling your mind with so much noise that you can no longer recognize the voice that has been calling you all along. This is why so many feel lost, even when they seem to have everything. This is why people feel empty, even in the midst of success. It's not because they don't have enough. It's because they've been listening to the wrong voices. They've allowed the world to define them, to shape their desires, to dictate what matters. They've believed the lie that more money, more status, more approval will bring them peace, but it never does. No matter how much they achieve, no matter how much they acquire, something always feels missing. That missing piece isn't something the world can give. It's not found in social media, in entertainment, in the fleeting pleasures that fade as quickly as they come. It's found in something deeper. something lasting. But to find it, you have to be willing to quiet the noise. You have to step away from the distractions long enough to listen. The challenge is that distractions feel easier. It's easier to keep scrolling than to face your own thoughts. It's easier to turn on the next show, the next video, the next conversation, than to sit in stillness and ask the deeper questions. But avoidance doesn't bring peace. Right now, in this moment, you have an opportunity to recognize the distractions for what they are, an opportunity to acknowledge that the constant noise isn't serving you, it's keeping you from something greater. The world will always try to pull your attention in 100 different directions. It will always offer another excuse to stay busy, another reason to keep moving. But you don't have to live that way. You don't have to let the noise drown out what matters most. This is your wake-up call. This is your reminder that there is more to life than just being busy, more than just consuming endless information, more than just keeping up with the latest trends. There is truth waiting to be heard, wisdom waiting to be received, but you have to be willing to listen. You have to make the choice to step away from the distractions and lean into something deeper. Because when you do, you'll realize that what you've been searching for all along has been there, waiting for you to finally pay attention. You were not created by accident. You are not here by mistake. From the very beginning, your life has been woven together with purpose, designed with intention, crafted for something far greater than you may realize. But how often do you stop to think about that? How often do you step back from the distractions, the pressures, the expectations of the world, and ask yourself, why am I really here? It's easy to fall into the rhythm of life without ever considering the deeper meaning behind it. You wake up, go through the motions, do what's expected, chase after the next goal, the next achievement, the next thing that promises fulfillment. But somewhere along the way, if you're honest with yourself, you've probably wondered, is this all there is? That question is a clue. It's a sign that deep down you know there's more. You feel it in the moments when success doesn't satisfy the way you thought it would. You sense it when the things you once longed for lose their excitement after you get them. You recognize it when you achieve what you thought would finally bring you happiness, only to realize that the feeling doesn't last. It's not because you're ungrateful. It's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because you were made for more than just temporary satisfaction. You were made for something eternal. The world tries to define your purpose in ways that will never truly fulfill you. It tells you that your worth is based on what you accomplish, how much money you make, how many people admire you. It convinces you that success, fame, and recognition are the ultimate goals. But if that were true, then why do so many people who achieve those things still feel empty? Why do those at the top still struggle with anxiety, depression, loneliness? Because real purpose isn't found in status. It's not found in material things. It's found in something far deeper, something that cannot be taken away. Your life was created with meaning. There are things you were uniquely designed to do, ways you were meant to impact the world, people you were meant to reach. There are gifts inside you, talents, passions, abilities that are not there by accident. But if you spend your life chasing after the wrong things, you'll never fully discover them. If you measure your worth by the world's standards, you'll always feel like you're falling short. But what if you started to see yourself the way you were truly meant to be seen? What if you realized that you have value not because of what you do, but because of who you are? What if you understood that your purpose isn't about chasing the next big thing, but about walking in the truth of who you were always meant to be? That changes everything. Because when you stop looking for fulfillment in the things that fade, you start finding it in the things that last. You begin to see that your worth isn't dependent on success, on approval, on accomplishments. It's already been established. You no longer feel the pressure to prove yourself because you recognize that your value has never been in question. And when you walk in that truth, you live differently. You stop settling for less than what you were made for. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You stop letting fear and doubt hold you back from stepping into the calling placed on your life. This is not just about feeling better. This is about transformation. This is about stepping into a life of meaning, of impact, of true fulfillment. Because when you embrace the purpose for which you were created, you don't just live, you thrive. And that is what you are always meant to do. Every day you are faced with choices. Some seem small, almost insignificant: what to eat, what to wear, how to spend a free moment. Others feel bigger: what job to take, where to live, who to trust. But underneath all of these daily decisions, there is a deeper, more important choice that shapes everything else. It's the choice of what direction your life will take. It's the choice of what voice you will listen to, what path you will follow, what truth you will believe. For so long you've been searching, maybe without even realizing it. You've been looking for something to bring clarity, something to bring fulfillment, something to fill the emptiness that nothing else seems to reach. You've tried different paths. You've followed what the world said would bring happiness. You've pursued success, relationships, approval, excitement. And yet, here you are, still wondering if you're on the right track, still feeling like something is missing. Right now, in this very moment, you have another choice. You can keep going the way you've been going, keep chasing after things that have left you feeling empty, keep convincing yourself that maybe the next achievement, the next goal, the next season of life will finally be the one that makes you feel complete. Or you can stop, you can pause long enough to recognize that there is another way. It's not easy to make that choice. The world has conditioned you to believe that if you just try a little harder, work a little more, push a little further, you'll finally reach the place where you feel satisfied. But if that were true, wouldn't you be there by now? Wouldn't all the striving, all the searching, all the chasing have led you to peace? That's the problem with looking for fulfillment in things that don't last. They were never meant to satisfy you. They were never meant to be the answer. They were meant to be temporary, passing, fleeting, but you were made for something eternal, something that doesn't fade, something that remains even when everything else shifts. That's why this moment matters. It's not just another thought, another idea, another piece of advice to consider and forget. It's an opportunity to change direction, to step into something greater than what you've known. It's a chance to say, I'm done chasing after things that don't last. I'm ready to walk in a different way. But here's the hard truth. No one can make that choice for you. No one can force you to see what has been in front of you all along. No one can convince you to let go of the things that have been holding you back. You have to decide. You have to be the one who says, enough, I'm ready for more. And when you do, everything changes. The things that once felt so important lose their grip on you. The pressure to prove yourself, to be enough, to meet impossible standards, it all begins to fade. You stop feeling the need to run after things that don't satisfy because you've finally found something that does. That's the power of choice. That's the power of realizing that you don't have to stay on the same path you've always been on. You can take a step in a new direction. You can choose to walk away from what is empty and toward what is real. The question is, will you? Will you keep doing what you've always done, hoping for a different result? Or will you take a step toward something greater? The choice is yours, and it's a choice that could change everything. There are moments in life when you feel something stirring deep within you. a nudge that refuses to be ignored. It may come in the quiet of the night when the distractions fade and your thoughts grow louder. It may come in the middle of an ordinary day, in a conversation, a moment of reflection, or even in something as simple as the words you're reading right now. It's that undeniable sense that you are being invited into something more, something deeper, something that cannot be found in the noise and rush of everyday life. But how often do people let those moments pass? How often do they feel the pull towards something greater only to push it aside with excuses? I'll think about it later. Now's not the right time. I'll deal with that when I have more clarity, when I'm ready, when life slows down. But later turns into weeks, weeks turn into months, and before they know it, years have passed, and the same longing remains unfulfilled. This is why moments like this matter. They are not coincidences. They are not just fleeting thoughts that come and go. They are invitations. Open doors leading to a life of meaning, purpose, and true fulfillment. But an open door is only useful if you choose to walk through it. An invitation is only valuable if you accept it. It's easy to ignore. It's easy to get caught up in the routine of life, to tell yourself that nothing needs to change, that you're fine where you are. But deep down, you know that's not true. You know that there is something missing. You know that the things you've been chasing have not truly satisfied you. You've felt the disappointment of placing your hope in things that fade. You've experienced the letdown of reaching a goal only to find that the happiness it promised was temporary. So here you are, standing before another invitation, another opportunity to step into something real. The door is open. The question is, will you walk through it? Will you finally say yes to the calling on your life, to the purpose you were meant for? Or will you keep waiting, keep putting it off, keep convincing yourself that you have all the time in the world? No one can make this decision for you. No one can force you to see what has been right in front of you all along. You have to choose. You have to be the one who says, enough waiting, I'm ready. You have to take the step, not knowing every detail, not having every answer, but trusting that there is something greater ahead. And when you do, you will begin to see life differently. The things that once felt so important will lose their grip on you. The anxieties that kept you up at night will start to fade. The emptiness you've been trying to fill with temporary things will finally be replaced with something lasting. But none of that happens unless you say yes. None of that becomes real unless you make the choice to step forward. The door is open, the invitation has been given, the moment is now. Will you answer?